just waiting. It's doing its live thing right now.
Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. Ours is a place where dreams take flight, voices are heard, and stories are shared. This is where cultures meet, connections are formed, and ideas are transformed into action. This is your destination for authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives, and meaningful conversations. We're where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover our world of education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our USA Global TV channel and download our USA Global TV app. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. With heartfelt thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, music scored by Yifei Tang from Cloud Road Music, creative direction by Paul Garcia, and I'm Al Cini, and I'm very proud to be part of the USA Global TV and Radio family. So join us here at USA Global TV and Radio. Make us your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication, or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited. Thank you for being a part of our global community. Let's inspire together.
Ego. That's what we're going to talk about today. What is ego? Fix that camera there. Is it good? Is it bad? What do you need to know about ego? Well, I've been talking to a lot of people about this recently, and we were talking about what's inspirational and what's showing off. What's good? What's bad? Where does inspiration begin and end, and where does showing off begin? I'm going to say something right now that I think is absolutely 100% true, and people could disagree if they want to. I mean, I'm not saying that they have to agree, but I will say this: in order for any human being to be successful, they have to have an ego. They have to have an ego. I don't care who it is. I don't care what political affiliation they are. I don't care what business they're in. I don't care what religion they're in. No matter what it is in any walk of life, there has to be an ego in order to drive you. There has to be. Only successful people have egos. And we like to think that they don't. Sometimes I'll watch old videos of things from when I was a little kid. And earlier this week, I was watching some clips from old Mr. Rogers videos. And Mr. Rogers, for those who don't know, was he ran a children's show, and he was probably one of the most calm, subdued people that you could ever meet. He was very calm, and people who actually met him in real life said the same thing. Fred Rogers is very famous, so most people know exactly what I'm talking about. He had an ego. In order for him to be successful in that show, even he, who was a pastor, musician, one of the most soft-spoken people in the world. I mean, here's a fact that tells you what he's all about. He kept his weight purposely at 143 pounds because he wanted it to be, if you count the letters, I love you. So I is one letter, love is 4 letters, and you is 3 letters. And so that's what this man was all about. Yet he had ego. So the demonization of ego, I think, is a problem. I think that we are now conditioning ourselves and probably our kids to squelch the ego and say, well, that's showing off. If you are too proud, or don't show off anything. Well, why do people put the diplomas in their office in glass and have a frame? Is that showing off, or is that something you're proud of and you just put up there? Why do people have trophy cases for things that they've won? Is that showing off, or is that inspirational? Is that something that people say, hey, it took a lot of discipline to do that? Why do people post on Facebook or YouTube channels or Instagram things that they do, things that they achieve, whether it's they got a doctorate, or they got a new job, or they graduated, or maybe their kids graduated. Maybe they're bragging. I shouldn't say that. I should say maybe they're excited about their child succeeding in something. Maybe it was a sport. Maybe it was a dance recital. Maybe it was gymnastics. Whatever it is, in order for anyone to be successful, and I've said this already, but I'm going to say it again, you have to have an ego. Anybody you can think of who's successful has an ego. You have to be able to differentiate the difference between having an ego and becoming obnoxious with it. Nobody would know it today because now I'm 50 years old and I play hockey about 4 times a year. So I'm on the ice about 4 times a year. But 30 years ago, all right, maybe 28 years ago or whatever, I was a really good hockey player. And we had a really good team. We had a team that went undefeated in a league. It was our college team. And I led the league in scoring. I had the most goals in the league. I had the most points in the league. It was the top scorer in the entire league. And when people would talk to me about it, and they would say, aren't you excited? Aren't you proud about that? I said, yeah, I'm proud about it. But, the team is winning, and that's the most important thing is, it's a lot of fun. And I was genuine when I said that. The most important thing was that we were winning and that we were having a good time, and people were coming out to watch us play. And it was a party atmosphere almost every night. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't go home thinking, wow, I'm leading this league in scoring. My ego was fed by that, of course. How could it not be? In the championship game, 2 game, we had a series. It was a best of 3, so it was a really short series, and you had to pull it out. And we were losing the first game, and I set up somebody for a goal. I made a pass in front, and one of our defensemen scored with, I don't know how many seconds left, maybe 6 seconds to tie it. And then we went into overtime. And with 12 seconds left in overtime, I scored to win it. The next night, I scored the first goal of the game, and then I scored the winning goal with just a few minutes left, a minute and a half left. And people were saying, hey, aren't you proud of what you did? And I said, yeah, I am. And I was. But did I laud it over my teammates? Did I, when we lifted up the trophy to celebrate, did I say, well, guys, the only reason why you're champions is because I did it. I scored the goals. I'm the one who did it. It got it all done. Of course not. We celebrated as a team because I didn't score by myself. I didn't play 1-on-5. I played 5-on-5. So my teammates, whether they were the ones who put the puck in the net or whether I was the one who put the puck in the net, somebody had to pass it up to me. Somebody had to be back on defense in case I got stripped of the puck. So the goaltender had to keep making saves. Sean, our goalie, he was great goalie, good friend, still in touch. But my point is that, I had an ego going into the championship, going into those 3 games. I said to myself, you're the best player in this league, and you are going to help this team win a championship. That's not showing off. That's having an ego. There's nothing wrong with it. It's super healthy. When it becomes showing off is, again, when you laud it over people, when you go out to people and you tell people, I lead the league in scoring. I'm the scoring champion. I have the most goals. Nobody has as many goals as I do. I'm the best player in this league. That's when you're showing off. That's when you're showing off. And that, I see people all the time who are inspirational to me. I have friends, and this is always, it seems to be with the physical stuff more than anything else. When people post stuff about their physical successes, and I'm talking about things like weightlifting, bodybuilding, that type of thing, there's an automatic perception that they're vain, that they are doing that because they need validation. Well, let me break the news to everybody. Yeah, everybody needs validation. This is not a new concept. And it's not bad to need validation. That's human. So this idea that, you do things for validation. Well, maybe that's part of the reason. That's not the only reason why you do things. But if that's part of the reason, why is that bad? What is wrong with that? We have to ask ourselves, why do we demonize people? Why do we look down on them? Why do we think, oh, look, they're showing off again? because they're proud of something that they did. I have a friend, Andrew. I'm not going to use his last name, but Andrew's a little bit older than me, in his probably early or mid 50s, probably maybe late 50s. I don't know. And I see Andrew post fairly, I wouldn't say every day, certainly not every week, but every couple of weeks maybe he'll post himself in the gym, and he's in unbelievable shape. He is lifting weights, fantastic build, lifts very heavy weight, especially for being over 50. But even if he was 20, it would be impressive. And I don't look down on that and say, oh, he's showing off. He's showing how much he can lift. He's showing how strong he is. He's showing how muscular he is. Quite the opposite. I look at him and say, man, he is really doing a great job. He looks great. Inspires me to want to go to the gym. Now, I can't right now because I have a back injury, but from a car accident. But I love the gym. I've been going to the gym since I was 16. I'm 50 now. So that's a long amount of time, 34 years of doing it. And I'm missing it. I can't wait till I'm healthy and back and ready to go. But, why, if I look at Andrew and I say, that impresses me, and I'll write to him. I'll say, hey, Andrew, just a great job. And I do that to a lot of friends when I see them post stuff on Facebook. But I get a lot of pushback. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not well built. I am, and the reason why I am is because I earned it. It didn't just happen. I didn't wake up and all of a sudden become muscular. I didn't get into great shape. Oh, hi, Abel, I think is the name. Hi, welcome. Good to have you on the show or joining in the show. I didn't. I say that the muscles are the trophy for the hard work. Do I go into the gym in my head with an ego? Yes. When I'm able to work out, when I'm back in the gym, I will have in my head that yes, you can do this. Yes, you are very strong. Yes, you are well built. There's nothing wrong with that. What becomes showing off is when you go to other people and keep talking about how much bigger you are than them, how much stronger you are than them, how much better you are than them. No, I go to the gym, and if I see somebody struggling with lighter weight than I lift, I don't laugh at them. I help them. They may need a spot. They may be struggling, and the weights they can't lift it up. And I'm coaching. I'm cheering them on. I'm like, go, 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 and I'm still inspired by them. But even though it might be a weight that's easy for me, but for them it's not. I know what the struggle's like. I get it. So I don't have a problem, or the vice versa. There might be somebody. I talked about this a lot. I'm trying to become the first ostomate. I have an ileostomy to bench press 400 pounds. Now, I got close. I got to 385, but I didn't make it to 400, or 405 actually would be 4 plates on each side. But does that mean that if somebody next to me has 500 pounds on the bar and they can bench 500 pounds, that my 400 pounds is now eliminated, or it doesn't have the same value? No, it's still 400 pounds. Now, I didn't get there, but my point is that person has an ego too, and they're doing amazing things. I mean, the bench press 500 pounds is almost otherworldly. I mean, you're talking about maybe 0.001% of the planet can do that. That's pretty impressive. So, same thing with bodybuilders or people who are weightlifters and are in good shape. We talk about, being in good shape, and I wasn't. I was in great shape in college. I was in great shape after college. I got sick with ulcerative colitis and then lost everything. All the muscle, everything went away. I had to have surgery, the whole 9 yards, lost everything. And then built it back up again and got really, really big and really muscular. And yeah, I put some pictures up on Facebook. I posed on Facebook. I had 20-inch biceps. They're a little smaller now since I haven't been in the gym, but 20-inch biceps are abnormally large. Again, that's a fact. That's not me saying, oh, look at me, I have 20-inch arms. I earned that. And I was proud of it and am proud of it. And I don't think it was showing off to do that. Now, here's the other part of it. In 2023, I went through a horrible depression up until really this year. And now I'm doing great mentally, feeling fantastic. But I lost all the muscle in 2023, shot up to 252 pounds of pure fat. My waist went from a 36 to a 42, I think. My heart rate was terrible. It was my resting heart rate was 108. My blood pressure was a ridiculous 156 over 100 or 99 or something like that. And nothing was going right. Cholesterol off the charts. Everything ridiculous. So I had a choice. I could either continue going down that road and probably not see 60, or now I'm 50. Maybe I was 48 at the time, so maybe I wouldn't have even seen 50. Or I could say, you know what, I'm not going to let the depression destroy my entire body. So I went and I personally myself, through a ton of research and what I've learned over the years, put myself through an exhaustive and very difficult training regimen and meal plan. And I lost 52 pounds in 9 months. Was I proud of that? You bet I was. You bet I was, because I knew the work that it took to get there. It wasn't the losing the weight that made me so proud. It was the fact that I stuck to it, the fact that I had the discipline to pull that off. You know what it was like to hear doctors say, "How in the world did you do this? I've never seen a patient do this before. Your blood pressure is now great. Your blood work looks fantastic. You are in phenomenal shape. How did this happen? Because you weren't 9 months ago. Where did this come from?" Yeah, I mean, of course it fed my ego and it made me want to do more. It made me more excited. And then when I posted stuff on Facebook, I posted the before and after. That wasn't, yeah, I wanted people to recognize it. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But mainly I was saying to people, if I could do it, you could do it. It wasn't just, I have some magic trick. It's very simple. You know, when you watch these commercials and they tell you to take all this different stuff and all these things that will help you, and it comes down to two things. It comes down to diet, well, three things: diet, exercise, and rest. Those are the three things. That's it. There's no magic pill. There's none of this stuff. Even if you took steroids, you still have to go to the gym to build the muscle. They're not, you can't lay in bed and pump steroids into your body and all of a sudden become Arnold Schwarzenegger. It doesn't work that way. Now, I do not suggest you using steroids. I have never used steroids. But I can tell you that there is no, even people who do steroids, there's work involved. There's work involved. Now, do I agree with that they use them? No, I don't. Do I think it's cheating? I absolutely think it's cheating. Without a doubt, it's cheating. But I still can recognize the work. So every once in a while, I'll show pictures of my body on Facebook or Instagram. And I'll get some people who are really impressed, and I'll get some people who give me kickback and say, "Oh, look, he's showing off again. He's trying to show his body, or why is that a bad thing? Why is that any different than me showing my master's degree in education? I mean, is that different?" Now, granted, I will tell you this straight out, and you probably won't hear this from most people, but most people in a gym are there because they had or have some sort of insecurity. That's exactly how I started. I was small. People made fun of the size of my chest. How I had no chest at all, no chest muscles, very weak. Bench press maybe 85 pounds, maybe 80 pounds. I mean, very, very. I was same height, 5'9", and I weighed about 120 pounds, just very, very small. And if you look at most people who are in a gym, that's where they come from. Most of the people who are gigantic that just can't get big enough, it came from some sort of insecurity from early in life. It just does. And then the battle becomes trying to squelch that a little bit, being proud of what you've done and being proud of what you are, but not letting that be the definition of who you are, that you're not just a strong person with a nice build. But I will tell you, and it's true, if you go into any gym, the bigger you see people, usually it's because they have some sort of, or had at one time, whether they still have it or not, I don't know. You'd have to ask them, but some sort of insecurity because they compensated for that by going to the gym. And I did the same thing. I did the same thing. I didn't like being called small. I didn't like getting knocked around when I played hockey. I didn't like, being intimidated by bigger and stronger guys. I just didn't like it. I wanted to be the other guy. I wanted to be the one who could be tough and who could be strong. And I worked hard for it. I did it alone. I bought the weights and worked out them by myself. I didn't want to go to a gym. I didn't want to be with anybody. I didn't want to be ridiculed. I did it all by myself. And then when I got bigger and stronger, I started going to a gym with other people because I felt like I was adequate enough to do that. My point is, you could take that for what it is. You could say, wow, that's inspirational. He did something that was difficult. He took something that mentally was difficult for him. Physically, he wasn't strong and didn't feel strong. And he turned it around, and it helped him get confidence, and it helped him get stronger physically. Or he could say, what a show off. He likes to flex, and that's his thing. The muscles are the trophy. It's not the muscles aren't what's the biggest thing. They're the payoff. They're the trophy. It's the hard work that went into it. It's the getting up in the morning or staying up late, or it's the extra pain that you go through. People ask you questions. Why? Why? Why do you do it? Now you're 50, almost 51. Next month I'll be 51. Why do you bother? I remember my grandfather. He said, why do you want to bench press 400 pounds? Why do you need to? I don't need to, I told him. I want to. Why do people climb Mount Everest? Why do people run and bike and swim in triathlons? Why do people do anything they do? Why do people skydive? Why do people do anything? Because that's what makes them feel good. That feeds their ego, that they conquered something that they wanted to conquer. And then when they conquer it, they want to get validation that they conquered it. Why are we telling people that that's no good, that's a bad thing? Again, if you use it as a way to laud yourself over other people and tell people that they're lesser than you, yeah, then you're showing off. Then that's a definite negative. Nobody wants to hear that. But most of the time when people get fed up or act out about something like that, it's because either A, they're jealous of it, or B, they just don't understand why it is that you do what you do. It's just that simple. If you're a great piano player, why would you not play the piano and put it on YouTube? If you're a great guitar player and singer, songwriter, why would you not sing and play the guitar and put it up on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram? Why would you not? Is that showing off? Or is that entertaining people? Is that inspiring people? Maybe somebody like me would say, hey, that I really would like to learn how to play the guitar. And I'm inspired by that, so I could go and play the guitar. So that's a positive thing. I don't look at those people and say, oh, what a show off. This person's a great guitarist, but why do they have to show everybody? Well, because they're a great guitarist. Why is that bad? Or if you're a great painter, I have friends that are artists that are unbelievable. Unbelievable. They have an ego. It's okay that they have an ego. They know that they're good at it, but they still want to hear it. They still want to hear, you're good at this. There's nothing wrong with it. I think we're getting into a place where we worry too much about, are we going to look like we're conceited, or are we going to look like we're, overly proud? And there can be that, but for the most part, when people are proud of what they've done, it's because they've done it. If I climb Mount Everest, yeah, I would post that on Facebook, of course. Why would I not? If I were a fighter pilot, would I tell people I was a fighter pilot? Sure. Would I be happy when they would say, wow, that's really cool? Yeah. If I was an astronaut and I had pictures of me in space, would I post them? Yeah, of course I would. So it's just my opinion, and people could agree or disagree, but I am totally convinced that the most successful people have an ego and a need for validation. And there's nothing wrong with it. Just is. If you want to be president of the United States, again, don't care what side you're on, Democrat, Republican, whatever. Whether you're Obama, Trump, doesn't matter who you are, Clinton, Bush, doesn't matter. All of them had to have an ego to succeed to the level that they succeeded. You will not make it if you don't have an ego. When you lay down in bed or you look at yourself in the mirror, you have to say, I can conquer this. I have the ability to do this. If you can't say that, you are not going to be successful. You're just not, because you're not convinced. And anybody who says, I don't need validation from other people, I feel good about myself no matter what. That's not true. It's not. It's not human. It's not human. Humans like to know that they did a good job. I mean, you just look at kids. I'm doing substitute teaching right now. And what do kids respond to? Kids respond to validation. Now, especially, I teach a lot of kids in special ed. And when they do something really well, I get excited for them and I tell them what a great job they did. And I give them a high five or a fist bump or whatever. And they smile, they get excited, and they feel good about themselves. And that's a good thing. That makes them want to do it more. That makes them want to fight harder. It makes them feel better about themselves. Maybe I'm not so different. Maybe I can learn things that I didn't think I could learn. Maybe people do see me differently than I see myself. Maybe that's what goes through their head. I don't know. I'm not going to grill a kindergartner on what they're thinking, but you can see in their face when you give them a sticker or you give them some kind of a treat or you give them a high five and tell them how wonderful they are. You could see it. Adults aren't any different. We think we are. Yeah, I love it when people say, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I'm just going to do it. Sure you do. Sure you do. Do you really want to be alone? Do you really want to not have friends? Do you really want to be somebody who's ostracized because you don't care what other people think? That's not true. Unless it's a very rare person. I would say probably well over 99% of people, 99.999, have the need to have other people around them, have the need for validation. It's just human. It's just human. So my point, my goal in this show is, you're going to get a lot of blowback if you try to let me just say this one thing first. The biggest mistake I've ever made as a business person is the fact that I was not able to talk about myself and sell myself well enough to build my business and make it bigger than it was. I grew a business from nothing to a six-figure business. Great. But I wanted it to grow more. And the biggest problem I had was when people came up to me and they would ask me about my business, I felt ashamed talking about my success. I didn't want to say I'm successful because I thought, oh, they're going to think I'm showing off. They're going to think I'm trying to be conceited. And that was a huge mistake, because if I had done that, maybe this business would have grown even more. Maybe they would have said, wow, this guy really has a lot of stuff to offer. Maybe we'll hire him. But instead, they probably walked away and were like, okay, that he's a corporate trader. And that's it. There was no other, they couldn't take anything else away from it than just what I did. It probably cost me the business, actually, because the business is slowly starting to fade away. And I'm going to have to find another route to, get back on my feet as far as financially. But I regret that now. But I'm not going to let it bother me in the future. I am going to tell people what I do and what skills I have and what I'm able to accomplish. If you don't, who's going to advocate for you? No one's going to come around and say, well, if they don't know you, especially, they're not going to say, well, what a wonderful person he is. He's really great at this, or she's really great at that. She could do this. He could do that. They don't know that. You got to tell them. You go into a job interview and you say, well, I work and I go in 9 to 5 and that's what I do. You're not going to get that job. You better be tooting your own horn in that interview, because if you're not, you're going to walk out and somebody else is going to get that job, because I guarantee you somebody else is going to toot their own horn. They're going to walk in and they're going to be confident and they're going to say, this is what I can do. This is what I have done and I will do for you. And if they do that, they're going to be successful. That's part of the ego. That's part of the ego. So when Andrew lifts weights and shows us that in your 50s, you could still be in great shape, that's not showing off. That's inspiration. When I show a 52-pound weight loss in 9 months in a ripped up body, that's not showing off. That's trying to be inspirational. When I want to bench press 400 pounds plus with an ostomy, that's to show ostomates that your life's not over with an ostomy. When somebody else puts up their doctorate, that's not showing off. That's showing people that you could accomplish something, that they accomplished something. You're happy for them. Maybe that's something you want to do, whatever it might be. Now, somebody, when it becomes a millionaire, is it showing off for them to say, look, I built my business into $1 million business? No, it's not. Now, if they say, all you losers, I'm $1 million business and the rest of you can't measure up to me. Yeah, okay. That's showing off. That is completely obnoxious. But if somebody's proud of their business and their background, why are we going to look at it as showing off if they're just highlighting what they've done? You know, I don't go around telling people what I bench press. I don't walk around the streets or I don't walk around without a shirt on flexing all day long. But every once in a while, I'll go on Facebook. I see friends do it all the time too, and look, I'm inspired by it. When I see guys my age, 50 plus, or even guys in their 30s that were overweight or underweight or whatever, and they look fantastic. Women who work out and have great bodies because they really worked. It's not about just the aesthetics. It's about the discipline, the power that it took, the determination that it took to get there. That's what you're impressed about. It's all about doing the best you can and being successful. And if you are, it's okay to talk about it. It's all right to talk about it. I want validation from my own kids. They're younger than me. They're obviously they're my kids. Makes sense, right? But even my kids, I want validation to know that I'm a good dad and they're proud of things I've done. I show them old pictures of me in the gym or pictures or videos of me playing hockey. And, I like it when they're like, Dad, I can't believe you did that. Or Dad, that looked really good. Or of course. And the same thing with my daughter. I mean, both daughters, they're both athletes, both swimmers. And my youngest plays softball and they're both really good at swimming. They're both champion swimmers in the area. I mean, not Olympic champion, but they're champions. Yeah, I'm proud about that. Yeah, I give them validation. Of course, I tell them to hang the ribbons up and the trophies. Of course, nothing wrong with that. Now, would I talk to them if they stuck that in somebody's face and said, "Do you have one of these?" I do. Yeah, I would. That'd be showing off. That's where it rolls into something that it shouldn't be. But can they go in and talk to people about it and say, "Hey, over the weekend I did this." When I was 9 years old, I'll finish on this. I just turned 10. First year I played hockey at all, and I just loved it. It was the greatest year of my life, really. It was incredible. And we were in the championship, and we weren't supposed to win. We were heavy underdogs to this much bigger. I was 10, and most of our guys were 12, 13, and the other team had a lot of 14, 15-year-olds, so they were supposed to kill us. And we won in overtime. Now, the first thing I did was called every family member, especially my grandparents. I called my grandparents on both sides, my grandmother and my grandfather on my mom's side, and told them all about the game, all excited and revved up about it. And I just couldn't wait to tell everybody. Yeah, I wasn't showing off. I was enjoying the validation that I helped win a championship. So the last end of the show here that I just want to say to you is, don't be a show off, but be inspirational. Do things that inspire other people so that they grow, not just to boost yourself, but at the same time, let the validation boost you to even higher heights. Can't hurt. It's not bad. It's human. All right, everybody. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy it. Have a good time with family and friends. And I will see you next week with some more You as a Whole, Body, Mind, and Soul.
Is it true? Is it kind? Is it necessary? In a world quick to judge, one book dares to reveal the hidden cost of silence. Discover Holy but Harmful, The Silent Sin of Judgment, How Hidden Judgments Destroy Relationships and Damage Lives by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. The Amazon #1 bestseller that's transforming the way we understand ourselves and the way we see others. Pick up the companion workbook to uncover your own hidden judgments and learn how to break free from them. Available now on Amazon and at fine bookstores worldwide.
Every woman carries a story of strength, of purpose, of light. Through her courage, the world is transformed. Through her grace, generations are inspired. This is Iconic Women. Within Every Woman Lives a Goddess, a celebration of brilliance, beauty, and empowerment. Join us every Wednesday at 11 a.m. New York, 4 p.m. London time. Only here on USA, Global TVR, and radio. Featuring the iconic Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, honoring voices that shine across the world. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, USA Global TV and Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, to watch and engage with all our content. World-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration.
USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents Tracy Cram Perkins, a dementia caregiving survivor teaching how to balance care with peace of mind. #1 resource for dementia caregivers. It's the book Dementia Home Care: How to Prepare Before, During, and After. Over 17,000 copies sold of this must-have guide. And now a testimonial from Tracy Smith.
If I was to describe this book to someone who is going through a similar situation, I would underscore how important it is to have some sort of a tool or a guidebook to help you through certain stages. And there's so many, it's such an unknown topic to the average person. And to have this as a reference is essential. It's going to help you get through it personally, as well as help your loved one manage.
To learn more, go to TracyCramPerkins.com. Tracy Cram Perkins is an award-winning author. She's also the host of Dementia Home Care television show. Watch it here on USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Music by Johnny Dies. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative Direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Copyright 2025. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.